Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Thriving Talk. We are excited to be back. And how are you doing today?
I'm doing good today, and it's good to be back. And I think after a break, we had an episode on my travel, but now back to some topics of our thriving topics. So good to be back.
Yeah. And a quick reminder to all our listeners, Thriving Talk is available on many different platforms like YouTube, Spotify, Google Podcasts. So make sure to follow or subscribe to Thriving Talk on your favorite platform so that you can receive the new episodes as they come out. So today we're going to talk about you might say an interesting topic. We're going to talk about rest. So when we talk about taking rest, what does taking rest mean from a biblical perspective?
Rest. Actually, rest is part of our this whole series on spiritual disciplines. I think we have done some episodes already on this topic. So now coming to this topic of rest, Bible teaches us that in the book of Genesis chapter 2, just want to read verse 2. It says that by the seventh, or verse 1 onward says, thus the heavens and the earth were completed in all their vast array. By the seventh day, God had finished the work he had been doing. So on the seventh day, he rested from all his work. Then God blessed the seventh and made it holy, because on it he rested from all the work of creating that he had done. So basically, Bible teaches us that even God, who is all-powerful, who is the creator of everything, he rested on the seventh day. So sometimes the question comes is, why did God rest? Does he had to rest? Because in other places in the Bible it says that he neither sleeps nor slumber. Yeah. And the protector of the Israel is basically all the time awake. And we normally say you can pray to God anytime. He's available 24 by 7. So when we look at all those things, the question is, why did God take rest? But the question is, I think one of the reasons why he rested, he was giving us a good example to follow, because he's our creator, and he has given us the manual. And if we don't follow the manual and the steps of the manufacturer, we are not going to yield good results. It's going to have problems, right? There is a statistics which says that about 50 to 70 million Americans have sleep disorders, and in 1 in 3 adults, that is about 84 million people, do not regularly get the recommended amount of uninterrupted sleep they need to protect their health. That's a very huge number. 1 out of 3 adults. Jim Smith, in his book, The Good and the Beautiful God, says the number one enemy of Christian spiritual formation today is exhaustion. Right? Spiritual formation is basically developing our inner spiritual man, and for that you need to pray, you need to spend time with reading the Word of God. But the problem is that we are so tired that we don't have energy left to focus on that. So Sabbath day, or the rest day, is God's present to the working man or a woman, and one of the chief objects is to prolong the life. The saving bank of human existence is in the weekly Sabbath, as somebody said. Now, the problem in today's generation is fear of being alone drives us to noise and crowds. Fear of being left out and missing something drives us to busyness in life. Sometimes on a Saturday, after working 5 days a week, like Monday to Friday, people want to just relax. And how do they relax? They relax by going for shopping or mall or anything. People don't think about, okay, today is one day and let me just, rest and, take that. But always there is this feeling that sitting idle or taking some rest is a problem.
Like so you always need to move.
Yeah, they always want to be on a move. So it is a problem, but people are not realizing it, and all the structure, the businesses, everything is built like that, 24 by 7. You can go at midnight and shop. You can go in many places. You can go and eat at 1 a.m.
Right.
All those things have just spoiled many of the good things we had. I have heard that in many countries in Europe, everything shuts down by 6 p.m. There is no shop or offices during the weekends. 24 by 7 is a costly arrangement in every sense. So what does it mean? How much our lifestyle will be different if everything shut down by 6?
Right.
Right? And then if we don't have, so people will be like within that window of, whatever that morning to 6 p.m., they will be finishing up everything they want to do. And also the people who work in these places, they would be back home and they would get time. But that's too far away for us right now.
Right.
Right? So historically, people slept and rested during darkness. But now with electricity and all these gadgets, internet and all those stuff, darkness doesn't matter. Once the sun goes down, still people are up way late into the night, right? It is become a very different scenario now. So rhythms of work and rest have also changed, and sometimes it's important, like people who work in medical field or some other fields where you have to work at night or evenings. That's different, but in general, people have taken things for granted. We have become more careful in some areas, but we have lost some good values. So now the question is, we're talking about rest. Our body needs rest, right? And sometimes this importance feeling like we are important. If we are not there, things won't happen, We have to do everything. Can really hinder us from taking rest. So rest is a choice. Rest is not equal to laziness. Laziness is completely different. Don't think that when we talk about rest. So going back to those biblical, sense, like how Bible teaches, it teaches that we are created by God and we are created by God for His purpose. So God rested, and medical science and all other aspects, common sense, our own experiences, everything tells us that our body needs rest. We don't have unlimited energy. We feel fresh and we feel energetic after taking rest. So it is very important. So if we ignore it, we are going to pay a big price. Already we are paying price for it. So it's very important.
So does lack of rest or sleep affect us like physically or mentally? Do we have like causes and like bad effects?
Absolutely. Lack of sleep and lack of rest impacts us in many ways. So there are some symptoms of lack of sleep. There are some short-term symptoms. Of course, drowsiness during the day. You feel tired. Your thinking becomes slow. You're not able to react or take decisions. Lack of energy, sometimes irritable mood. You're, in an irritated sense. Headaches, slowed reaction times, as I was telling. You don't respond faster. So all these things are short-term impacts of lack of rest or lack of sleep. Now, long-term, there are bigger issues. It heightens the risk of physical and mental health problems that can creep into our life. And there are many, many physical issues which can come up, like memory issues, loss of memory, trouble thinking or concentrating, mood changes. It can cause accidents, because if you are driving and if you sleep, weakened immunity, like high blood pressure, your immunity will be weakened. It will be weak. And then blood pressure, weight gain, risk of heart disease, poor balance. Sometimes people deal with imbalances, risk of high blood sugar, diabetes. There are many, many issues which can come up if you have if you're straining too much and if you're not taking rest. So yes, absolutely, it can impact physically.
So we know that God took rest on the seventh day of creating the earth. But like, did Jesus take rest, or like, did he give us any instructions about taking rest?
Yeah, I think a lot of times people think that Jesus was working 24/7, always doing miracles, everything. But there are some passages or some places in the Bible which actually points towards the fact that Jesus was concerned about his disciples taking rest. I want to read Mark chapter 6:31. It says, he said to them, come away by yourself to a remote place and rest for a while. For many people were coming and going and they did not even have time to eat. Right? In other ways, Jesus said, let's go off by ourselves to a quiet place and rest a while. He said this because there were so many people coming and going that Jesus and his apostles did not even have time to eat. So what does it mean? Jesus basically is telling his disciples, hey, you had been running a lot, you need rest. So I think that holds even true today too, when God looks at us and he says, hey, you need rest. There is an incident where Jesus was in the boat.
Right.
Storm and wind and everything came. What was Jesus doing at that time in the boat?
Resting.
Sleeping. Yeah, it's not like he was simply sitting.
Yeah.
They had to wake him up. He was probably in a deep sleep or something like that. So Jesus slept. And in Matthew 11:28, Jesus actually gives people an invitation. He says, come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. That's a promise of Jesus. So absolutely, we see many places where Jesus did not think that we are made to work 24/7 or, but we need enough rest. And the cultural setting of those days were so different from where we are today. I wonder what Jesus would have said if he would have seen the current culture and how people are sometimes so stressed out, exhausted, tired, lack of sleep. But during those days still, as things got busy, Jesus was telling his disciples, hey, come by yourself to a remote place and rest for a while. So I think Jesus was interested in the wholesome well-being of people.
So what are some practical steps to taking rest in like our own lives?
When we talk about practical steps, first of all, you have to make up your mind that this is important. Without this is not going to happen.
Right. You have to like have that thinking that you need rest.
Yeah, and that thinking has to come, I think, from a biblical standpoint. As to if God rested, he asked us to rest. We have to understand that if we violate that, there is going to be definitely a problem. That's one thing. Practical steps, designate a day or time each week to take rest. Make sure you have some time built in, right? To take some extra nap or something, based on life situation. Focus on getting everything done on other days. At least keep one day free. If you have a one day or some time free, don't think about running here and there. Don't think about, going to mall or, don't make yourself busy during those days. Like have some downtime in life. Sometimes people say, right, cook some double portion once a week so that you don't have to cook or every single day. Turn off notifications from your phone. Don't get distracted. Spend some time with the nature. Look around. If the weather permits, walk out. And then there is a concept which is very interesting. It says, waste some time with God. It's not really wasting, but that word is used very intentionally because sometimes people think that, any idle time we have is a waste. No, it's not waste. Rest is important. So those are some of the practical things I would say, but be very intentional about the fact that your body needs rest. And it needs to recoup from all the stress and all the, things you are doing on a daily basis. So
do you have any final thoughts or final things you want to talk about rest?
Yeah, my thing is I've been convinced. I used to be a person who used to slog at some point of just go, but now I'm more than convinced that we need that to just to keep our health and everything in the right place. But let me read to you something which Charles Spurgeon said. He said, "Rest time is not waste time. It is the economy to gather fresh strength. It is wisdom to take occasional furlough. It is in the long run, we shall do more by sometimes doing less." Right? So don't think that taking rest is a waste of time. Sometimes people are so much entangled and they want to be always on the move that they can't even imagine or think of taking rest. So my suggestion is, if that's the problem, you need to really calm down and sit down and relax and let things go and let the body, because we have been created in such a way that, we need rest in our life. So if you are somebody who is tired and who has been running around and you just feel like your body is too tired, I think you need to do this. Otherwise, you're not going to be running long. So when you are in a marathon, one of the thing is you don't just start with full steam, right?
Right.
You start slow, and towards the end you pace up, right? You have to maintain that. Otherwise, after like a few hundred meters, you will be like collapse.
Right.
If you try to it's not a 100-meter race. A marathon is long. You have to run. So we have to understand that our life, we have to have the right pace, speed, and don't just collapse. So a lot of times people are like trying to overexert and they just collapse on the way. So we have to be very careful about that aspect.
So thank you for sharing, and to all our listeners, my dad talked about rest and why we really need rest. We should set apart time for rest, because if we don't rest, we won't be that functional, and our run won't be that well. So thank you for sharing, and to all our listeners, thank you for listening. In the coming weeks, we'll be coming back with more Thrive and Talk episodes, and we'll be talking about more topics. I'll be asking questions, and my dad will answer many questions. And as I said in the beginning, Thrive and Talk is available on many different platforms like Spotify, YouTube, Google Podcasts. So make sure to subscribe or follow Thrive and Talk on your favorite platform so you can stay up to tune on all the different episodes. Also, remember that my dad has a monthly newsletter in which he shares a lot of good information. Feel free to subscribe to the newsletter. It'll be in the show notes. And thank you. That wraps up this episode. Make sure to try and find some time to rest in our daily lives.
Thank you all. God bless you. And as we discussed this in this episode, make sure that you take some time, if you're not taking, to rest in the sight of God. As we said, waste some time with God, and that will take you on a long journey. God bless you all.